One of the questions we receive frequently from doctors is really pushback on the heights that is displayed within the software. We receive doubts that that's really the right number. Just by visually looking at a bracket, a doctor will say that's not the right height. And what we've learned is there's basically different angles at which you can measure the height. We've learned doctors like to do it in different ways. So let me explain how this works. First off, you'll notice under Show Height, I have turned on here bracket height lines so that visually you can kind of see what's going on here. So what I want to do is I'm going to right click that 7, hold down my shift key, and now click that side. And you'll notice this is one way to measure the heights, is we are basically parallel to the occlusal plane of the predicted outcome model. So we think this is kind of the best way to do it, is to be parallel to that plane of where you want the teeth to end up and measure that way. But there are different ways of doing it. So this is new over here. It says measure by. So we have 3 different ways to measure. And so if I click if you'll notice here on the pre-treatment, these angles are all different. Where in predicted outcome, they're all straight. That's because we've corrected the torque. But some doctors don't want that. They want to be measuring their bracket heights based on pre-treatment. So if you go ahead and click this, you'll now notice that the brackets changed their heights to maintain what the default ones are here. But you'll now notice that they're all parallel to the pre-treatment occlusal plane. And then over on pre-treatment, they're all at different angles. And then the third one, we measure perpendicular to the base. That's the third option you can do here. And let me give an example. I'm going to right click on this central, and that isolates it. I hit my space bar, and I can kind of rotate this around. And you'll notice here, let me do a little bit of adjusting to get that base straight up and down. It's a little bit too much. But now you can see there, that we measure basically perpendicular to that base. So that does change the heights. We're still keeping those heights, but the brackets themselves change based on the angle at which you are measuring. And that's why we now have these 3 different methods to change the heights of your brackets.